Hello, welcome to Reconnect with myself, your host, Barry Phillips. And if you are a first-time listener, Reconnect is a call to those that have been cut off or abandoned, who feel disconnected or disenfranchised from that which they have formerly been a part of, whether that was a church or home group or Hebraic Roots congregation, wherever it is that you have been and you're no longer at. You're isolated and soloing, trying to figure out who you are and where you belong. This program is for you. And I appreciate you tuning in and spending some time with me. For those that have been commenting, not only on this program as recorded last week, but also on some things that I put on my blog in recent days. Thank you. Thank you for your comments, for your encouragement, and thank you, Father, for allowing some words to be helpful to someone. You can find out more about our ministry and what we're trying to do at Remnant of Yisrael, Yisrael, remnantofisrael.com. And the blog that I mentioned is thereturning.net. And then also our congregational site for House of David is House of David VA, that is in Virginia, houseofdavidva.org. And so thank you for, again, your comments and your input. Last week we talked quite a bit about prayer and the kind of prayer that would be effective. And we thought that effective prayer would be key. Not just praying amiss, not just praying in general terms, not even just praying about the area of concerns and hurts, wounds, fears, etc. that we ourselves personally have experienced, but rather that we broaden our scope and our perspective of prayer to where we're thinking more in lines of praying about the coming and the appearance of the kingdom of Yahweh upon the face of the earth, where Yeshua, our Messiah, will rule and reign the earth from his throne in Jerusalem. Very worthy topic of prayer. And the goal, if we will, we should understand this, is not just that you and I feel better about ourselves or about our current situation or what it is that we need to be doing for him. The overriding concept of our cause for prayer, our heart for prayer, is that his kingdom come and that his will be done on the earth as it is already done and established in the heavens. So our heart has to be, Father, wherever it is that you want me to plug in, however it is that you want me to act in obedience to you, whatever role of service that I can offer to you and to your kingdom, that's what I'm here for. That's greatly opposed to current trends among some pulpits where we see that the word and prayer and kingdom principles are for our benefit and for our blessing and the accumulation of our stuff, proving the merit of our walk by the amount of money in our checkbook or accounts or the type of car we drive, clothes we wear, where we live, etc. So that's really out of balance, I believe, with the rest of the word. Rather, that we are a servant and that we are here to serve the purposes of the kingdom. So I wanted today to build on last week's understanding about prayer and positioning ourselves to be strategically used to do something significant for him, and talk today about humility. In the book of 1 Peter, 1 Kepha, chapter 5, if you have text and you can sit down and look with me, if you're writing, you can look at this maybe later, in verses 5 through 11. I want to read just a few verses here with you. And again, I'm reading from the Scriptures translation. Verse 5 says, "In the same way, you younger ones, be subject to elders. Gird yourselves with humility toward one another, for Elohim resists the proud, but gives favor to the humble. Humble yourselves then under the mighty hand of Elohim, so that he exalts you in due time." So when I'm reading this, what I'm seeing is that there is a strategy of humility. Let's also recognize a very basic principle, I think, and that is that our words and our walk are vitally connected. Belief, or our faith, it's not what we say. You can say, "Oh, I have great faith." Wonderful. It's not what you say, however, that demonstrates your belief. It's what you do. That's what Yaakov or James instructed us. Faith is obedience. It is walking out and doing what you say that you believe. But it's not just also what we profess and do, but it's also correctly demonstrated by how we do it. So I say that I believe, I follow up my words with my actions, but then I guard my actions also to be sure that they're demonstrated with a servant's heart and with a pure motive. So the encouragement here is that I demonstrate my faith or my belief by humble servanthood, walking in obedience to his commands. Now, the words of the kingdom have always been, "You shall and you shall not." When you read the Torah and when you read the commands, it's continuous. This is what you are to do. This is what you must not do. And the establishing then of "you shall" and "you shall not," what we see is the construction of, or the declaration of, boundaries. Yah put boundaries around day and night. He put boundaries around vegetation, that the seed inside the vegetation should produce fruit of the same kind as determined by the root. I won't get off into seedless vegetables and fruits and hybrid plants and that kind of thing today. But that's some time for another study later on. But he put boundaries around the waters, that they could come up onto the shore and not any further. He determined for us what animals are clean and unclean for our eating. He declared that man and woman determine a family, not man and man, not woman and woman. That's a violation of his boundaries. And later on in the book of Devarim or Deuteronomy, he teaches us that to move someone's boundary marker is a curse. So mankind in our society, we've been moving boundaries all over the place and redetermining how we think things ought to be, and we're cursing ourselves as a result of that. In fact, when you and I walk correctly according to what it is that he has put in boundaries for us, then we do what Israel did, and we respond with a phrase, Naaseh Vanishma, which interpreted basically means we will do and we will hear. In other words, we're going to do what is required of us even before we understand. It's not waiting until I figure it all out, then I'll obey, but obeying even though we don't understand why. We just simply do what he says because that's what he said. Now, these are then the righteous words of the good seed. And when you and I utter these words, Father, I will do what you say. I will listen to what you say. I will obey your boundaries. Then we are producing righteousness, not only in ourselves, and not only favor and healing and restoration, not only those things in ourselves, but also in our environment, that which is around us, in our homes, in our towns, and our families. The words of the seed of the serpent has always been, yea, has Elohim really said? Remember, that was the argument with the serpent against Eve. And so he has always looked for a loophole or a reason why what Yahweh said is not really what that he meant. So when man walks in disobedience, again, looking for those loopholes and promoting justification of the unclean instead of pursuing the clean and the set apart, what results in our environment and also in ourselves is violence and rebellion, lack, poverty, sickness, and even pollution. So as we were talking last week and we're praying for the coming of the kingdom, not our will but your will be done. Bring your kingdom here even as it's already established in the heavens. Those are the words of the good seed, the seed of the woman, the heart of the Messiah. When we act arrogantly, seeking our own way and our own cause, promoting ourselves to the disadvantage of others around us, we're actually working with the seed of the serpent and calling into question what Yah has said. Now, it's not enough then that we just do what the word says, but again, we have to do so humbly as a servant. Now, our adversary, Hasatan, seeks to bring about in us mindsets that leads us to prideful responses. When accused, we seek to divide ourselves against our accuser. Someone may be offering us reproof or correction or encouragement to do better. They're trying to provoke us to righteousness, and we get ourselves offended. We get all up in arms. How dare that they would say these type of things to me? This isn't love. I'm not feeling any love around here. And so we begin to lash out at those who offer strong words to try to help us. I'm reminded of what Yahweh said to Job in Job chapter 40, verse 8. He said, Job, are you going to accuse me to justify yourself? Man, I have seen that over and over again, where instead of listening to what someone has to say, we tear down our accuser in order to justify ourselves. So when someone says, this is what you did, we respond, well, oh yeah, well then this is what you did, or this is what someone else did, and it's worse than what I did. So we find ourselves in relative justification. I'm not as bad as somebody else, or someone else sinned too, so why are you picking on me? All of those things speak of pride. Pride is that which refuses to allow us to hear a word of correction, a word of admonishment, a word that should provoke us to growth. Listen, humility is the proper foundation for our obedience. We seek to serve, we seek to obey to serve His purposes, to bring about His kingdom. We're not serving Him out of fear of judgment. It's not that if I don't do this, then I'll die and go to hell. That's not our motivation. Our motivation is, Father, I want to serve you because it will serve bringing about your kingdom and establishing Yeshua on the throne. This is not about me. This is not about my time in the limelight here. This is about Yeshua and how I can promote Him, elevate Him, exalt Him, and see Him reign and rule upon the throne. And how I work in the scheme of all of that, Father, I'm available as your servant simply to do whatever it is that you're requiring of me. So instead of privately responding and accusing someone else in fear of judgment that may come to us, we remember I'm a servant. And if someone can help me to become a better servant, that I can better be used to bring about the kingdom of Yeshua, so be it. Then tell me what I need to do. Give me instruction, provoke me, rebuke me if necessary, reprove me if needed, but help me to become the better servant. And again, on the other side of that, when we are correcting someone, when we're helping someone to be disciplined and to grow, again, it can be about personality. It cannot be about how that they do things that are different than what we would do, but rather we see some area in them. If I can help them refine this, if I can help them get stirred up in another area, maybe they're just tired or they slacked off and they need to be encouraged, get up and keep running. But I should do those things with the heart. Father, help me to help them to become the best servant that they can be. In fact, some time ago, I'm thinking not months, but maybe a year or so ago, while in prayer, what I heard the encouragement of the Ruach to me was, it's time to promote other men. Now, in our congregation, I wanted to blow the shofar and open up, and I wanted to exhort, and I wanted to lead worship, and I wanted to teach because I enjoy doing all of those things. But I began to realize, Father, there are other men that are here that are capable, they have gifting, they have calling, and it's no longer time about me providing a platform or a means for me to demonstrate my gifts. It's time for me to take other men and push them up, promote them, put and entrust things into their hands so that they can be vitally used themselves to do things that are important and things that are significant for your kingdom. And it's not enough that I just push men up. The real goal is that I take other people and push them up higher than I myself can stand. Now, if someone can come up to my level or to your level and we feel like, I'm helping them along, we feel good about ourselves. But the reality is you and I need to take people and push them up higher than what we're getting ourselves. That's uncomfortable. That goes against the human grain. Why would I want to promote somebody beyond where I can stand myself? This should be a pyramid thing, right? Where if I build people up underneath me, they push me up. Well, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about those that the Father would begin to signify and to set apart. And it's our role and our duty to push them up as high as we can get them. To make it a little softer, think about your next generation, your children, your grandchildren. You don't want them just to get to where you are. You want them to go further. Not only in education and living well in society, but especially in things pertaining to that of the kingdom and of the Spirit. You don't want them just to level off where you have leveled off. You want them to grow higher, go further, know more, be better in tune with the will of the Spirit, and get further than what you and I have gotten to. So if we can do that for our children and our grandchildren, we also should love our brother and sister around us enough who are also our family and help them to get up higher as well. So when we employ the strategy of humility, what we find then is it causes Yahweh to respond to us with hin, or with grace. Now in Sunday school, you and I both probably learned that grace is God's unmerited favor, and that he didn't have to, but he did, and that he didn't have to redeem us, but because of his grace, his unmerited favor toward us, he chose to forgive us. Well, grace is a lot more than that. Grace, if you expand this, is Yah's divine empowerment for us to achieve and to overcome and to grow beyond our current limitations. It's his empowerment. It is his deposit of his ability inside of us to achieve the kingdom purpose that you and I have been called to. When you and I choose to use humility in our relationships that are around us, when we back off of our woundedness and our offensive nature and allow other people to speak into our lives and offer correction or exhortation or encouragement, when we choose to lift others up higher than ourselves, we're walking in humility. But we're also becoming eligible then for a deposit of divine power situated in us so that we can do more than we could previously. Humility says, I can still learn something. I don't know it all. Somebody can teach me. Humility is demonstrated by having a teachable spirit. Someone told me some wise words many years ago. Barry, it's imperative that you keep a teachable spirit. The moment that I think that I should be the teacher, I should be the only one saying something around here, no one else has anything more important to say than me, or I get bored with everybody else's teaching, that's where I have found myself walking in arrogance and in pride. But a teachable spirit that says, Father, I may not like the delivery style, I might not like the personality, but they're saying something that I need to hear. Give me a spirit, a heart that can receive what it is that they're saying. Humility will then also seek to promote others' advantage and their spiritual growth when even we feel like that we have become stagnant. Now, it's easy for you and I to push someone else up when we're energized and we're feeling good about ourselves. But even when we are falling short, even when we feel like I don't have anything left to give, my tank is empty, I'm worn out, still you can help someone else get kick-started or promoted or urged. Push them up. And it could be that the place that you push them up to, that they will pause and turn around and offer you a hand up yourself. Good thought. That kind of came to me outside of notes there. I like that. So push someone else up, and then maybe they can help you get to the same place that you just helped them get to. Humility is demonstrated also by bowing down and worshiping. Staying where you are and finding him where you are, rather than the act of scurrying around from meeting to meeting, conference to conference, church to church, looking for a blessing. Well, brother, I just came here for a blessing today. Well, you may have come for the wrong purpose. The blessing may not be for you. It may be for someone else. And you may be the person that Yah has chosen to give that blessing to them. So the desire should be more of a blessing than out to get a blessing, if you will. Get back to the thought just previous there. Worship him where you are. Finding him where you are and exalting him and promoting him right where you are, as opposed to I've got to go get something for myself. So to seek one's own benefit, to promote yourself, speaks then of pride. When you and I walk in pride, what we're then experiencing is a rejection of Yah against us, and actually finding him opposed to us. Remember, it says he resists the proud. Yahweh resists the proud. When you and I choose to walk in selfish ambition, or in arrogance, or in promotion of self, where we're focused about how I think, how I feel, what's important to me, we're inviting Yahweh to turn his heart in opposition against us. His desire is that you and I walk in humility, that we promote and serve others that are around us. In doing so, then again, he finds a worthy vehicle, a worthy chamber, if you will, a place to put his power where he knows that it will be used for his benefit and not for our own. How important is that? Then he also will say to us, if we will do that, if we will walk humbly before him and submit ourselves under the leadership of his hand, ever how that has been demonstrated or established for us, listening to the wise words of elders, hearing what a pastor or a shepherd has to say, discerning the truth of what some teacher is presenting to us. If we will be willing to do that, then he will exalt you, not immediately, not next week, in due time, which requires further humility and patience and waiting and trusting. The goal in our being humbled before him is not to be promoted, it is to serve. But it is in the place of faithful servanthood he finds one worthy of being promoted. If we don't do this, we will find that roaring accusation of the lion against us and be destroyed. We don't need that. We need to grow. We need to serve. So until next time, we'll take up this and go a little bit further. This is Barry with Reconnect. Walk humbly, my friend. Let's see the kingdom come. Shalom.
we are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network. The teachings and music on Messianic Lamb Radio are made available by the generous donations of listeners like you. Thank you.
But much to love the internet. Daryl and I had never met. You know, we've known each other, 34, at least maybe 40 years, maybe. I don't know, something like that. No, 4 years. I don't know. How long have you been on Lamb, Daryl?
Yeah, be 4 years in April.
4 years, and see, he keeps track of those things. Daryl's all of Daryl's ducks are in a row, Shell. So
wow.
Don't be too random for Daryl. That just sends him in random mode. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a lot like you, Mark. You just kind of never know what you're going to get. It can be pretty random.
That's right. That's right. And Daryl has read every single book on the shelves back there. The problem is about 3/4 of those books are fake. You know, you can buy these little panels of books that you can slip in your bookshelves, and some of them, if you pull them down, they open up a separate little door. The bookshelf opens up, and he's got secret compartments back.
It's like a tunnel. Yeah.
I have a bat cave.
You have a bat cave back there, really? All right, cool.
You know, secretly, I'm a multi-billionaire with all kinds of toys down in the cave down, and I fight crime too.
Daryl, everybody already knows that. I know you think it's secret, but everybody already knows that. Okay.
All the secrets are out, huh?
And nobody recognizes me through the mask either.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, so.
It's like Clark Kent. He put on his glasses. Nobody knew he was Superman.
Yeah, that's right. It's just amazing. It really is. So, you know, hey, and we're all comic book characters somewhere down the line, I think.
You got that some kind of right.